All right, so we're continuing chapter 6.1. We're looking at the introduction web page design. So far, we would considered what is a web page, what is a website, how do we create a web page, what are the different categories of websites, what are the different types of websites. We looked at all of those already. So now our focus is on how do we plan to create our websites? How do we create our web pages? So far, we would have already looked at basically things we need to look at. There's more. There's more aspects we need to look at, but it's three main things we need to look at. What is the content of our web page? How do we organize that content? And how do we organize it? And basically, how do we let persons navigate our website? So we already learned that our content is basically what we are putting on our website, whether that be images, text, videos, whatever we're making our website, whatever the purpose is, whatever we're putting on it, that is our content. Organization is how we group those contents together, how we make certain topics and subtopics. Um, in the last class, I gave the example of um, a website about plants. You're going to start off with plants, branch off with the different types of plants, vegetables, fruits, flowers, and so on. And then you further branch off with the different plants that would fall under those categories. So that's the idea you want to have when you're making a website. If you're making a website for, say for example, a hardware store, what categories would you guys have? Other questions?
Like construction materials.
God, that's one. Anyone else?
Well, materials.
Go ahead, Narish.
Well, the materials used parts. Hardware.
I didn't hear that clearly.
Welding.
Yeah, welding materials, construction materials, um, kitchen kitchen materials, bathroom materials. So you're gonna have, if you're dealing with hardware for home or some sort of environment. So you would categorize it based on the different areas: the kitchen, the living room, the bathroom. If it's general constructions, I hope you guys are getting the idea of how you categorize your content to organize it on your website. Good. So now when it comes to categorizing or organizing, we have to do something called navigation. Now we touched on it last week or our last class, but we're gonna go it over again because there's some technical parts in it that we need to understand. So let's see. We're gonna start from the top once again. Alia, could you read the paragraph for us?
Yes, sir. Navigation links can include pull down and pop up menus. Menus are hyperlinks to other pages or documents. Any visitor to our website should be able to move through the main categories or pages in a logical manner or go directly to an area of interest. Hyperlinks are used to connect web pages to other web pages or locations within the same web page or external documents. Other navigational links are breadcrumbs, which are seen in a single line below the web page header. Breadcrumbs show the path a visitor would have taken to access the current page, with each one being a subcategory of the one before it. An example of a breadcrumb or breadcrumb trail is home plants, potted flowers.
Good. So, and this is menus, right? Plural menus. Good. So, navigation. We have our content on our website. We organize that content. So when we organize it, we have to plan. So you take a book, a pencil, and you plan. Just like how in this example here, you plan. You have a home page, then you plan that you're going to be about plants, the different types of plants, and we're going to fall under those categories and so on. Now, when you finish planning, that is how you are going to lay out your website so that persons can navigate your website. So I was giving you the example of CXC's website, whereby this is the home page. This here is the home page, and then when you hover, these are like the main categories here. The request category, examinations category, the services category, media, procurement, and so on. Now, on the examination, you're going to find the different areas of exam they have. CPEA, CSEC, CAPE, and so on. And when you click on one of those categories now, it shows you all of the subjects that falls under that category, so we can see how it is organized. And also, this relates to navigation. When so basically you go from exam, you go to CSEC, and you can find your different subjects. So that relates to navigation in that you move through the categories or the different pages to get to your destination. That is navigation. You go from one page to the next, from one category to the next, main category to subcategory, to get to your destination. That is navigation. Now, I'm hoping you guys are taking your notes once again. So, what is the hyperlink? A hyperlink is basically a link that takes you to another web page or the same location on the same page. Am I breaking up for you guys?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, I didn't hear that clearly. Was that
No, sir, you're not breaking up. You're not breaking up.
okay? My computer is running very loud. All right, continuing. So, hyperlink. What is the hyperlink? Well, the hyperlink is basically any text that you will find on the internet that is in blue, and it's usually on the so all of these texts in blue, and when you hover over it, they become underlined. That there is a hyperlink, and a hyperlink connects you to web pages. It can either take you to another web page, or it can take you to the same location on the same page. So for example, when I click on biology, it's going to take me to a whole different page. But say for example, when I click on SBA here, notice it's the same page, but basically taking me to another section of the page. So it's still a hyperlink, but it's taking me to different locations. Now it can either take you to another web page, same web page, or give you access to an external document. So that is how you guys get to download a music file, how you get to download a picture, a video, whatever the case may be. Now, this is a important technical part that you guys need to pay attention on. Breadcrumbs. What is breadcrumbs? So I'm sure when you guys heard this term breadcrumbs when reading this paragraph, what came to mind?
Bread.
Bread? What show came to mind?
Hansel and Gretel.
Hansel and Gretel, right. And what did they use the breadcrumbs for in that movie, in that book or show?
So tracking.
The tracking?
To remember remember where they came from.
Good, to remember where they came from so that they can basically follow this trail and go back home, right? So that is basically what breadcrumbs is in IT. It's a trail, it's a path that you follow in order to get to a certain location. So breadcrumbs, it shows the path a visitor would have to take to access the current page. So for example, the breadcrumbs relate to the category that you would have created. So this is an example here of a breadcrumb. In this breadcrumb here, the whoever is visiting this web page, they first have to go to the home page. If they want to reach the flowers, they first have to go to the home page. Then they have to go through the plants category or the plants page. Then they have to go to the potted page, and then they have to go to the flowers page. So that there is the breadcrumb or the breadcrumb trail. It's basically the path that you need to take to get to a web page or your destination. So yes, some of you might be thinking that you don't need to go through all of that. Say for example, if I go back to the home page of CXC website, that you don't need to hover over examination and then click on CSEC and then go to biology to see information on biology. You don't need to do all of that because you can simply go to Google and type in CXC biology and that exact same page comes up. You don't need to navigate, and that is true. But if you notice at the top here, it's not that you need to navigate or that you need to go through all of those pages to get to your destination. Is that based on the organizing of the web page, logically, the contents have to go through those categories. So logically, even though you're not physically going to those pages, you're indirectly still passing through them. Because if this subject page was to disappear, then it would break up the link between the biology and CSEC. Because you must go through the subject area before you go to biology. So it's not that you must go through plants before you get to flowers, but because you can always open a link that takes you directly to flowers, but it's the logical path that you're going to follow to get to that destination. It's the organized path that was already created to get to that location. So it's still a trail that you need to follow to get to a location. So a CSEC exam question might be actually similar to that. What is the path to the potted web page? They might ask you something like that. And you're gonna have to say that first you have to open the home page, select the plants, hyperlink or navigational link, and then go to the potted web page, something along that area. Are you guys following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. So the main thing to remember about the breadcrumb is just like the show Hansel and Gretel. It's the path that you must take. So it's a simple um, aspect you can think of. It's a simple path, but remember, if a website has multiple pages and so on, it can get a bit technical. Let's see. Website breadcrumbs. Let's see if we can get an example. Website tree diagram. So you can also think of it like a tree diagram, like this. I'm looking for one that can. Right, this is one here. So you have the home page. Remember, you say that we always start off with the home page at the top there, and from the home page, can it not zoom in? Right. From the home page, you can go to the about page over here on the left, and from the about, you go to design and process or meet the team. From the home page, you go to services, and then you can request a code from services. Notice the follow the arrow, request a quote. Sorry. On the home, you have projects, and then under projects, you can go to a residential project or a commercial project, and then you can see the projects under them. So that is the bread trail. So they might give you something just like this here on your exam, and they might ask you, what is the navigational link to get you, or what is the breadcrumb trail to get you to meet the team? So what's the breadcrumb trail for that?
So from the home page to the about him.
Good. From home page to about to meet the team. Now we have a DB at the bottom here, database. So what's the navigate the breadcrumb trail for that now?
Sir, from homepage to contact to send us your CV to the database.
Good. Is that the only breadcrumb trail?
Or from lead magnet to
Good. From home to lead magnet, and this file, this link gonna take you to the database there. Are the rest of you following? Can I didn't hear anything from you?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
You
Yes,
understand?
sir.
I hope you guys understand what we're doing. So request the code, that breadcrumb trail. You can go from home, services, and then go up request the code, or you can also request it directly from the home page here. So it's just a simple following the arrow, and that will give you your trail. Good. Now the next paragraph, Brian, could you read that for us?
The visitor can go directly to any of the pages in the breadcrumb by clicking on the hyperlinks in it, including home, which will take them back to the opening screen or main web page. Another useful set of links websites can provide can provide are those to other websites that are related to your website's content. Figure 6.1 show the address or URL of a particular web page, also called a path.
Good. So, as I already mentioned, it's not that you have to follow this path, because you can take a direct link to any one of the pages, but it's just the logical path that you must follow to reach a certain pages. Now, um, websites are usually related to each other. Um, say, for example, Ministry of Education. So, this is the Ministry of Education's website. And if a website is related to, say for example, this website that we're entering here, you will see the navigational links. For example, YouTube. This should be a YouTube page for the Ministry of Education. It is a related page to that website. So you have a link that takes you to that website there. This is going to be the Twitter page. You also have the Facebook page here for the Ministry of Education. So that is how websites also make use of hyperlinks so that they take you to related websites that relate to their content that they have there. Some of them actually have links to the other ministries, but I'm not seeing this one has that. I think it's one of the other ministry websites. It links you to the other ministries of education, um, ministries in Guyana. That way, that would be another usage. Good. So, but that is how persons make use of hyperlinks. Now, I would have mentioned this in the last class that what you're seeing at the top here, what you saw there for CXC website, and what you're seeing now, homepage, parents, teachers, and so on. And even if you go to a different page, news and events, notice you're still seeing these links at the top here. These are called navigational links, and the purpose of them is so that you can navigate a website. So that basically, it doesn't matter which page you go on, doesn't matter what page you go on, you should be able to still navigate the entire website from that location. That is an effective website strategy to create. Having navigational links that can take you to any other part of the website, no matter where you are. So that's one of the purpose of the navigation. So that basically you're not trapped on a web page. I would have mentioned this also last week that if you're on a web page and you have to use this back button here to navigate the website. Say for instance you're on a page and it's looking like this here, and you can't click on anything to take you to another part of the website. So all you have to do, the only thing you can do is go back to another page or keep pressing until you go to the home page. That is a poor design of that web page. You should not be doing that. You should not be doing this here. So all web pages must have navigational links. I think that's one thing I told you guys to check. Whenever you're going to a website, look for those navigational links. And you're going to see that all websites have those navigational links. Good. So each website has a name or basically an address so that you can navigate to that website. We can say it's an address because it's basically a location on the internet. So we call it an address, or we can call it the URL. Anybody remember what is URL?
Uniform Resource Locator.
Very good. So if any of you cannot remember, please take note of that. Uniform Resource Locator. And that URL We can also say that link. There's so many terms we can use interchangeably. We can say address, web address, URL. We can say link. We can say web link, or we can even say path. There's so many terms that basically refer to the same thing here. Alright, so next we're going to be looking at two other aspects we need to look at when deciding to create a web page. Next we're going to look at economy. Sion, you can read that.
You should be aware of the number of web pages a visitor must view before seeing the page of interest. Also, not all users have the same internet connection, so modem speeds for dial-up customers may increase the time taken to view a page that has many images or videos. Websites aimed at or optimized for mobile devices also take this loading time issue into consideration.
Good. So when we started this chapter, what did we say a web page or a website is compared to?
A book, sir.
A book. Good. A book with pages inside of it. Good. Or like a document. A document with a file, like a Word document. Good. So now, what do you use to view a web page?
Sarah browser.
A browser. Very good. Use a browser. Now, I would have also said when you are viewing a web page through that browser, what does the browser have to do in order for you to view that web page? What does it have to do with all of the content?
So it needs
Sir.
stats.
Okay. Anyone else?
Sir needs to download all the content.
It needs to download all of the content. That's very important for you guys to remember. A browser, anytime it is loading a website, that I would have told you guys this already. Anytime you go to a website and you see the images, you see the text taking a while to load, like in this case here, everything just taking a while to load. It is because your internet, the browser has to download all of the content. It has to download all the pages, all of the file, all the video, everything that you see on the web page. It has to download everything to your computer in order for you to see what is on the web page. You guys remember me saying that?
Yes, sir.
Good. So why I brought it back up is because it relates to this paragraph here, economy. Now, because your browser has to download all of that content, we have to be careful when we are creating our websites to take into consideration persons who do not have the latest and greatest internet connection, especially persons like who are still using dial-up, or they might have a slower version of DSL. They don't have high-speed internet with fiber and cable and all of that. So we have to be careful with how many web pages we are going to use on our website so that it's not too much for them to download. So we have to take into consideration what is the speed of our customers' internet. Is it slow? Is it fast? So they're going to determine how much content we are going to put on our web page. So in addition to how much content and how many images or how many videos we're going to put, and then we have to take into consideration the speed of their internet. There's two factors there you have to consider. Three is the number of web pages that we're going to use. Four is we have to know, will our customers be using mobile devices? And today, mobile devices are basically the standard. Almost everyone has a phone. If you don't have a phone, you have a tablet. And that's how you are browsing the internet. So we have to ensure that the website we are creating can be viewed on mobile devices. I think I would have mentioned this already when we were looking at the category or the mobile websites here. Websites are developed for larger screens, your desktop and your laptops and so on. They're not developed for mobile devices. So the developers now will have to develop a version that will work on your mobile devices. So it's the same for you guys when you are going to develop your web page. It should be done in a way that it can be viewed on your phone, on your computer, whichever device you are using. All right. Our last area is security. Daniel Bailey.
A website should have ample security features to assure confidence if users are providing sensitive data, such as credit card or personal information. These security features should include measures to prevent hackers and viruses from compromising the integrity of data, information, and hardware.
Good. So if you're going to be a website that is storing personal information, you're going to be doing business, and you're going to be storing data, then you're going to need to ensure that you are protecting your data. So you have to look at the security of your website. If you're going to be a website like maybe Amazon or eBay, then you have to ensure that your customer's name, their address, their personal information, credit card information, all of that, it is stored securely so that persons cannot try to hack into the system and steal those data. So we have to ensure we protect our sensitive data such as credit card, personal information, and prevent hackers and even viruses. We have to ensure that the system that is hosting the website, that it is up to date. It is running the latest version of software. It is running the latest version of protection so that we can prevent any vulnerabilities that can cause it to be hacked or infected with a virus. So we want to protect our data, we want to protect information, we want to protect software, we want to protect everything. So we also need to think of security when it comes to developing our website. So that is the 5 areas we need to think of when planning our website. So far what we looked at in this chapter, we looked at what is a web page, what is a website, important for you to differentiate between those two. We looked at what is HTML, why do we use HTML, why do we use a browser, what are the different examples of browser, what is a URL, what are the categories of websites. We looked at what are the different types of websites we have: entertainment, shopping, mobile, and lastly we finished off with how do we plan for our website. So when it comes time for you to develop your website, you need to implement these methods. First, you have to determine What is your content? What do I have to put on my website? What images do I have to use? What text do I have to use? What animation? What video? What links do I have to use? You have to think about all of that. Then you have to think about, how am I going to organize all of this data? What categories can I put them in so that it is logical for a person to follow? 3, how will persons navigate my website? I have to create navigational links. I have to create hyperlinks. I have to ensure that once they're on a page, they can be able to go to any other page and be able to access the content from anywhere, any part of the page, the website that they're on. So how will they logically navigate that website? 4, economy. Can my customers, can the persons that I want to access my website, can they do so? Will they be able to access my website? Those are questions you need to ask yourself. If I'm making a website about videos, about movies, even online gaming, are the persons that I'm targeting, will they be able to play this game? Do they have the fast enough internet to play this game? Or do they have the device to play this game? So that's something you need to think about. And then lastly, security. Can I protect my customers' information? Can I protect my information? Can I protect the website as a whole? Because if it's something that is useful to society, then, for example, CSEC websites, it has so much information on it. Can they protect this website from persons attacking it so that we can still get the syllabus, we can still get resources from the website? That is questions we need to ask ourselves, or areas that we need to look into when developing our web pages or our website. Any questions before we go into the review questions? Any questions, concerns, suggestions, comments?
No, sir.
Are you guys understanding everything so far?
I think so.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, good. Well, let me look at these review questions here. So I think basically we're gonna use your let's see. Let me have a look at these questions. Yeah, here are some basic questions. Now let's look at other things to do. Name applications is secure page. The universal language that is used to produce a web page. Stage name with the true primary browsers. Space to name give me a second, because basically the data from output so what were they using last term? Alright, so we're going to review these questions, and that's going to be it for today. So question number 1, or we're going to see what's going to happen. So question number 1, we're going to start from the, well, I'm going to pick you randomly. So question number 1, name the application that is used to view a web page. Let's start from the Hodge. Hodge. Durrani. Durrani. Jamal. Is this question that hard?
Browser.
We didn't hear that clearly, Jamal.
A browser.
Browser, very good. Browser or just browser, very good. Not sure why this question was so hard for Daniel and Durrani. Question number 2. State the name of the universal language that is used to produce web pages. Jasmine? What is the language you use? I hope you guys are taking note of the answer also. Jasmine doesn't know the answer. Jeremiah?
HTML, sir.
HTML, very good. HTML. Remember all of these questions, the answers are right in this chapter here. 3, state the names of 3 common browsers. Jamani?
Firefox, Chrome, Edge.
Good. Good. 4, suggest 2 ways in which a user can open or locate a web page. Jonathan? If you don't know, just say you don't know so that we know you're there and we can move on. Jonathan? Khadija?
So by entering a URL or using a search engine.
Where you got those answers from? That's correct. That is correct. You enter the URL or you use a search engine. That's very good. So we would have already talked about a search engine. Actually, when we were talking about web pages and we started off, we said that how in the past, when you wanted to access a website, you needed to know the URL because you needed to type in that URL to open the web page. But today we have it so easy that we can simply search for something in a search engine and we get the location of that URL. Good. Please ensure you're taking note of the correct answers. 5. Explain the association between a web page, a website, and a web page. Keelan? Keelan?
A dynamic website. Wait, no. An e-commerce website.
Which question are you answering?
Sir, the 6, number 6 or 5.
We're at 5.
5? Oh, okay. Okay, so web page is what is 1. one part of the website, like one page, and a web like the website is the whole thing, like youtube.com, and if like on a video like that, like if you press like the home page, there's like one web page, and then like if you go to press like another video, there's like another page, and the website is the whole thing like YouTube.
Good, good, very good. So when you're on YouTube, individual videos that you're seeing, those are web pages, single page, as you mentioned, and the entire YouTube is the website. Good. Um, so, question to anyone: would you guys call a web page a website? Would you call a web page a website? Can we call a web page a website?
Sir, you said it because you said a website could be one page alone.
So what would you say? Would you call a web page a website? Anyone? Yes.
Yes, sir.
We have one yes.
Yes, sir.
Another yes. Two yes. Any no's? I take everybody else to know. So,
Yes, sir.
No, 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 yes.
so yes is correct. You can call a web page a website. Can you call a website a web page?
No, sir.
No, it doesn't work in that direction because the website is multiple pages. Good. So remember, a web page is one page. Multiple of it basically make up a website. So basically just one page can be considered a website. 6. State the category of websites where users must log in to to edit content. Kofensi?
Sir, community building and social networking.
Um, Users must log in to edit content. Let's see. Not so much so. You can say that, yes, but it's social network is not so much about editing content. It's just more about sharing content. So let me have another try. Mahima?
Sir, I don't know.
Don't know. Michaela?
Sir, a dynamic website?
That's correct. A dynamic website. So if we look back at the categories that we have, um, so yes, that's why I was saying Kafensi's answer is kind of right, kind of wrong, because in the first place, the social network and community building is not one of the categories, but you can say it's gonna fall under the dynamic website because a dynamic website allows you to add content, change content, and so on. Um, but Kafensi's answer of community building, social networking, those are more of the specific types of websites that would fall under those categories. They were asking more of the category. 7. State the general purpose or category of websites that is used for online purchases. Malik?
Sorry, you just was forgot for the answer thing there, sir.
Go to back over. We're asking this question here, Malik. What is the category or general purpose of website is used for online purchases?
Sir, the e-commerce one.
Good. E-commerce. E-commerce or shopping. Um, what is the general purpose of website used for small devices? Narish? I didn't hear that.
Social media website.
No. Using small devices, Nicholas?
A web app, sir.
Web app. Web app. No. Small devices, Robert?
Mobile.
That is correct. Mobile. So mobile websites are used in small devices, shopping or e-commerce for online purchases, and then lastly, social interacting with others. Xavier?
What search C?
Yeah,
Is that like a social media website? Something of
yeah,
the sort.
yeah. Social networking and the community building one. Good. So those are those websites for those purposes there. Eight, last question. State three features that should be considered when planning a website. Savitri, give me one.
Content.
Content, you have to determine what content. Celicia,
Security.
security. Giselle, Giselle,
Sir, who you planning for? Like your audience?
who are you planning for? Um, yes, that is true, but that's not one of the features that we considered. What was one of the features that we considered? The answer is correct, but what was one of the features that we considered? One of the five features.
Sorry, I can't remember.
All right, Titino.
Sir, navigation.
Navigation. Unique.
Sir, organization.
Organization. And what was the last one? Anyone?
Economy.
Sorry.
Economy. Very good. So those are the five features that we basically looked at when we were planning. Content, organization, navigation, economy, and security. Now, as I mentioned, what Giselle said is not wrong. That's called target audience. It kind of relates to the content. You have to determine, before you actually determine what is your content, you have to know who is your target audience. Who are you making the website for? So are you making it for children? Are you making it for adults? And that will help you determine what content you will put on your website. Good. So yeah, that's it for this chapter here. Please look over what we would have covered. Please remember we're preparing now for CSEC. We don't want to have to go over this chapter once again later on. We're already in that situation for spreadsheet, database, and Word. Let's not make it the same for web page design. So go over back the chapter. If you have any questions, message me at any time so that we can clarify anything. or you can watch over back the recording, whichever one you want, so that you can have your clarifications. So if you guys don't have any questions at this time, that is going to be the end of today's class.
Bye, sir.
Goodbye.
All right, sir.